Great game and great way to start off our first series here for day 3.
Looks like we're heading into game number 3, ladies and gentlemen, between EG, JYP, and mousesports HasuObs.
And while this map loads up, we do have the bracket, and let's take a quick look at it for those of you who may just joined us and wondering how exactly this is all playing out. There we see that in round 1, JYP over Morrow. That's the match we're currently watching, JYP versus HasuObs. Sase said he wanted to face a Terran, got his wish, and it was exactly what he needed. Defeated Puma to move on. He'll be facing Sheth, which is great because Sheth's challenge coincides perfectly with the fact that he was working on his ZVP. Illusion versus Naniwa. Saw Naniwa advance forward. That means he'll be facing off versus Thorzane. And Parting getting that bye. We already knew that we would see Parting versus Rhett.
So, ladies and gents, let's go into game number 3 between Hasu and JYP, already underway. Tied up 1-1.
Yeah, so, I mean, there was a moment in that last game, Sean, where I thought for sure that we'd just seen a 2-0. I mean... It was so hard. You know, you had mentioned that, you know, sometimes even though that harassment is fun and it's great and everything, you know, from a spectator's point of view, it just looked like, well, gosh, what could HasuObs possibly do here? DTs all over his base, you know, he's losing production buildings here. He's constantly under fire. He has to split up his army, but I just appreciate how cool, calm, and collected these players are in these situations. It's just an amazing skill to be able to maintain that level of focus throughout an intense game like that.
You know, it's kind of an interesting idea that Hasu, it wasn't a moment where he had to make the right decision. It was 15 minutes where he had to make the right decisions. And that is something that is extraordinarily hard to do, to just be like, okay, I'm on the verge of losing. I'm on the verge of losing. I'm on the verge of losing. That phrase is still in your head, still in your head, still in your head. And then you win, and you're like, okay, cool, we're tied up now. Yeah. Nice.
It's like, great. We can start back at square one, and it's just like a best of one at this point. And the map kind of, I think, does favor the fact that HasuObs is going to get to take this to a little bit of later game. Of course, it will be dictated by exactly what we see here. And interestingly enough, JYP with, you know, just a different building positioning here for Cloud Kingdom, putting that gateway at the top of his ramp. Yeah,
I mean, a good way to defend against a 4-gate is to just wall off your front. That is how a lot of old school 3-gating players used to win before you had that patch change where you could no longer warp in on the ramp. So it looks like JYP doing a little bit of just-in-case situation here. He's going to build this gateway here just in case he has to have that kind of defense up. Second assimilator down for JYP, and delayed assimilator from Hasu. This is generally the representation of a very, very aggressive build coming out by Hasu, and that looks like what we're seeing. Chrono boosted Stalker.
Yep, it's coming out right now. Pro doing the dance with that Zealot, and over on the other side, both guys just trying to keep their scouting probe alive. I tell you what, that last game, I'm still just so blown away. It's really, really incredible.
Looks like we do see that probe managing to pull out. JYP will give him chase. That first Zealot is giving some nice little vision advantage there to Hasu. And Hasu will continue to be very responsible about taking these watchtowers, and he sees that there is a Stalker coming out at him. JYP, interestingly, is just getting a robo facility. If we look at the vision for HasuObs, he does see that there are 2 geysers down, but he still doesn't know if his opponent is going to be 4-gating. Oops, now that probe's down, Hasu knows no threat of a 4-gate. He can expand, do anything he wants at his leisure.
Yep, in fact, he's going to move forward and also chase back this one Stalker and Zealot that were currently residing at the tower. And the probe is going to move forward as well, which does put him in a pretty decent position at this point. He's going to move forward, using that ramp to his advantage, getting those initial shots, and now moving forward, we're going to have a nice little battle. Control will mean everything here. It looks like Hasu will once again push JYP back. The probe is eliminated, though. He might get a Zealot, but he is going to be forced to move back. And you know what? I don't even think he's going to play around. He's going to get, now he's that he's got the Stalker, he might choose to push forward.
I know, it looks like he's holding this position. I'm actually hanging out here to see if he's going to end up moving forward. Nope, it looks like he might just send the Zealot back home. And meanwhile, it looks like Hasu's doing a fairly standard robo 3-gate play. This is his ultimate standard that we've seen him do time and time again. But this was a very funky build out of JYP. He rushed for the robo, and then he followed it up with a Twilight Council, and there's the blink. And meanwhile, wow. Hasu's really going old school with his style. He's getting an Insta-Robo Bay.
Yeah, he is. And, you know, this is kind of what we saw. It was game 2. That's kind of how JYP did open as well. Didn't he go for that pretty early Colossus in the back?
Yeah, I believe that was the case. Yeah, I mean, that's always an important concept to think about. If I can start my Colossus production earlier than you, then I will always have more Colossi in an engagement. Oh, Hasu really wants to kill this Observer. This is not a fun spot to be in the life of an Observer.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of action being spent there on that as well. He could move a couple units forward. Here comes that other Stalker, knowing that he can chase away. He might fly into a position where there's nowhere or nothing that can actually hit it. It does look like JYP will manage to go away.
Does look like that pylon going down. Hasu's going to have to spend a lot of minerals on pylons. It's always difficult to end up, considering the right gateway composition in a moment like this. Generally, you want 4 if you're not building pylons, because you're being aggressive, you're losing units, and you want to replenish them as fast as possible. But Hasu's going to have a hard time even building out of 2 gateways and pylons and getting this Colossus out at the same time. But Hasu still just wants to build that up as much as possible, and JYP needs to do some damage moving in with a blink play.
Oh, and there it is. Oh, even one Stalker would be a big victory, and there it is. Right now, JYP trying to snipe whatever he possibly can. Oh, and he's going to blink forward to try to get the Colossus, and he does with ease. However, he's got to wait for the cooldown before he can actually get out of the base as well. He's going to put himself all the way into the back. A few of those Stalkers make it out of there, and there he does it. Will he also get the Observer?
He gets it. That's a big win right there for Hasu. JYP is going to morph in more Stalkers, but, I mean, just a single Observer is about 2 Stalkers worth of gas. So suddenly, it looks like JYP wants to try to go in for round number 2. Will he really want to engage that Colossus? It looks like after Hasu has seen a couple of blinks there, he knows that it's all right for the Colossus to begin to step forward. But JYP really can't afford to get an Observer anymore.
Yeah, and that means he's not going to know what's at the top of the ramp, nor is he going to be able to blink in. However, that's not going to stop him from getting aggressive, and he just literally walks right up. We're going to have another, actually an Immortal popping out here, but the Colossus does go down. The Immortal immediately target fired. What great timing there by JYP, immediately going after that. He's going to warp in on the high ground from that low ground pylon, but his numbers are dwindling here a little bit. 3 more Stalkers warped in through the top.
Oh, JYP doing some incredible control stuff. Now moving to the front. Looks like the Stalker battle on the top will be won by Hasu. But at the same time, JYP has a very high number of those Stalkers out on the map. And Hasu's going to be hard-pressed to control his units properly in this situation.
Yeah, here we go as more Stalkers move up, and it's certainly an advantage for JYP. He can't really do any more high ground warp-ins because he just doesn't have the vision to do so, so he's going to go ahead and move back, warping in a couple more Stalkers real quickly. It's 10 for JYP Stalkers, that is, and 6 Stalkers for HasuObs. He does also have an Immortal, and what do we have coming out? An additional Immortal on the way.
Hasu really needs to get those pylons up right now. JYP has just been crushing Hasu in the supply battle, and it's all going to come down to this single Immortal. Can it do the damage that it needs? I mean, Hasu is basically building just pylons and Immortals.
You know, Sean, because JYP has been so godlike with his Immortal snipes, if you'll notice, watch how HasuObs actually moves his Immortals. He's being so cautious that they're almost not even contributing to the battle, which, you know, he doesn't want to lose them. He needs them to win there, but he's just, he's being very careful.
And now, what a relief for Hasu. He knows that there's no Observer on the map for JYP. With all that crazy exchange, we see that the probe count relatively even for both players. Expansion going down for JYP. Soon enough, we're going to see a big swell of Immortals for Hasu, and he will be able to get up an expansion. Once you get to around 3 or 4 Immortals, that's when it's time to just kick it back, take it easy, and there's not really too much stress and strain when it comes to defending against these sorts of pushes.
And I mean, HasuObs has spent like the last minute in game time just building pylons that have been sniped by JYP, and we did see a power down of at least one gateway that is back up now. And here we have, he's going to try to go for a potential nexus here, but he's got to be careful. Starts building, gets one little volley from the Stalkers, and he could be out 400. He's going to move into position once again, putting those Immortals on the high ground. However, right now, JYP, he's getting that nexus up. He's starting to expand and reinforcing it back there. And I feel like it's going to be pretty difficult for HasuObs to get out there and get that Nexus down. I
mean, what Hasu may very well do is just get a single Colossus and go. Just try to do the huge push all in. Right now, it looks like, is there 3 Immortals popping out right now? 3 Immortals and 1 Colossus. Very difficult for Hasu to know what he should target. JYP's response, do the unit that kills off gateway units best, Zealots. He's going to be morphing in nothing but Zealots as quickly and swiftly as he can to try to amass a big enough army to deal with this scary mixture from Hasu. But unless Hasu starts making a big push really soon, will he end up target firing? No, he does end up pulling back.
Yeah, and I feel like HasuObs really wanted to put that Nexus down. It looked like he was trying for quite some time. So he's going to feel probably pretty good about not only having a good position here, but also getting it down. Observer is going to be watching at the bottom of the ramp. He finds finally a pylon of JYP and takes it out. HasuObs will get this expansion up, but again, JYP ahead in the expansion, having it up for quite some time.
Now, see, Hasu's doing a smart manipulation. You heard me just a moment ago saying that if Hasu wants to attack, he has to attack now. JYP is just painfully... Oh! JYP looks away for just a second, loses a single Stalker. Nice movement or moment there. But again, Hasu knows that if he were going to attack, he has to attack right now. So what does that mean? Hasu says, well, I'm going to keep moving forward. I'm going to force you to make Zealots. And what am I going to do instead of attacking? Chrono Boost out as many Colossi as I can. Then when we get in the engagement, later on in the game, you'll have a whole bunch of useless Zealots that will be ripped apart by my higher Colossus count.
Yeah, and I mean, having the additional Colossus no longer can really, you just, JYP blink in and try to snipe that single unit. He's still got to deal with the numbers that are there, not to mention the 3 Immortals. And we take a look at things, there is an Immortal out for JYP, but 3 Immortals, just like demonstrated in the last game, we saw how they rip through not only the Colossus, but we know how badly they can rip through those Stalkers as well. So he is looking pretty good as far as those Robo units are concerned. 3 additional gateways are going down, and these blink Stalkers, or these Stalkers in the front are also being very diligent here, going to blink away and just stay as far away from Hasu's army as they possibly can.
I'm quite surprised by the fact that there's 3 more gateways going down by Hasu. Really, the only thing that he could be doing in that position is saying, I want to go all in. I want to do a big, crazy, aggressive push. To do that, though, he really has to ramp up his probe count. He's at 33. That's about half using that expansion. We see another nice blink forward, picking off a single unit there. Hasu's been decent at keeping his units alive as much as possible. But again, I'm a little worried about this decision from Hasu. I think he perceives himself as farther behind than he really is.
Now, the question I would have is, does JYP actually know how many Colossus his opponent has at this point? I'm just trying to watch his vision, and I keep seeing just a single Colossus pop in. Is he going to try to come around? Oh, this is good. If they blink around, actually, they're going to take the long route, and he might just go for it right here. Does he have a forward pylon? He does. It is finished up. It's at the 3rd. The Blink Stalker's going to need to come back because he will need that to defend, and that could be that moment he needed.
Oh, the Blink Stalkers are in a very bad position. It's just Zealots up here. Oh, no, that's going to be a rough position for JYP. Only Zealots against a largely Colossus force. The Blink Stalkers, oh my gosh, Hasu catches JYP out of position once again. Oh, critical positioning misstep. Hasu in a vastly superior position. The Zealots hardly able to even participate in the battle. And now Hasu doing a great job running up to the high ground. Where can those Stalkers blink to? But oh no, he gets a little bit out of position himself. And now it's all up to the Immortals for Hasu to deal the needed damage. The Blink Stalkers from behind, the unit count a little bit too high from JYP. More Zealots streaming in, and it looks like JYP with the nice defense manages to clean up. JYP wins a convincing 2-1 series.
Yeah, I mean, solid defense, the right decisions there. He brought his Stalkers back. He got up on the high ground, which of course meant there's no vision any longer, so HasuObs was just taking blind hits from there. Nothing he could do about it. And although it did look like maybe he was just going to go in and roll over what was at the natural, JYP responds just at the right moment.
So we now know the first person in the semifinals, JYP there. There's your winner, ladies and gents, JYP with a solid 2-1 win. And we're going to be stepping off to a brief break because when we come back, it's Chef versus Sase.
Oh, I'm very excited for that one.
See you after this quick break, everyone. This is day number 3, Championship Sunday of Red Bull LAN Orlando.